Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with CEO and renowned American entrepreneur John Hewitt. He is the Hewitt and Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, after which he founded Liberty Tax Service with over 6,000 offices. John sold his interest in Liberty for nearly $500 million. Now John and his partners and friends are helping entrepreneurs discover how to become CEOs, building their empires for the King of Kings. He is the author of the fascinating book, iCompete, and the CEO of loyalty brands. Over the years, he has made significant impacts in the business world through his innovative ideas and strategic thinking. While on the road, we caught up with this brilliant business mind to talk about a great many things. Enjoy.
Hello.
Hi, John. How are you today?
Incredible.
Hey, it's great to meet you, John. Thank you for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So I want to begin our conversation with what we lived through for the last 3.5 years, going through a pandemic. How did you get through it, and how did it change you?
Of course, it was difficult. We acquired a income tax business, and the first season we were shut down in March. And so I don't know if you recall, but they extended the tax season until August 15th that year. So, but our offices were shut down from March until August. So it was difficult to operate during that time. And what changed mostly is a lot higher percentage of our customers became either sending the information to us online, or they were drop off. So those were the biggest changes back then. And of course, I think in all of our companies, and we have 8 companies. In all of our companies, it's been tougher to hire employees since COVID. So it's been more difficult to get great employees. So I would say that's the biggest change, is the difficulty in getting employees.
What I can't figure out is where are all these people? Where have they gone? I know that we had this kind of thing where people reevaluated their lives, but the government's not giving any more money out from what I know. So where are all the employees? I mean, in all of the sectors, everything just seems to be evaporated.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of, there are a lot of people in the workforce who were not working for the money. They were working for extra money, or just because they didn't want to retire. Gotcha. And so I think it caused a lot of people to retire early, or not take that second job, or not want to be exposed. I know in myself, even today, there's been a pickup of COVID. My own daughter, I just found out in the last 10 minutes, my youngest daughter, my 18-year-old daughter, went to the school nurse and has COVID. I've had so many people get COVID over the last 3 months that there's a huge new outbreak. The good news is it doesn't seem to be deadly. It doesn't seem to be life-threatening, but there's a lot more of it going around. And, when I have to decide to go out for breakfast or stay home or just go to the drive-through, I say, you know what, if I go inside, I'm going to be exposed to people. And I just flew into Miami this morning, and thank heavens I was upgraded to first class. But there was 2 people in first class wearing masks this morning. So it's changing the way people think, and the way people they're risk averse. A lot of people are risk averse.
Yeah, for sure. So, it's very obvious what you do as an entrepreneur, and a lot of people have heard of Jackson Hewitt. But let's say you get in front of a bunch of 3rd graders, it's career day, and one of the kids is curious and asks you, what do you do on a daily basis? How would you answer that child?
Well, entrepreneurs and CEOs are different from most jobs in that we spend a lot of our time thinking and calculating and envisioning the future. I spend 40% of my time alone just thinking about the future. And I think when I was 9 years old, I became a chess expert. And I think my chess experience has helped me in building businesses. because I say, if this happens, then I'm going to do that. If that happens, I'm going to do that. And so I think that it's a big difference in most jobs. You spend very little time thinking about the future, but as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, founder, you spend a lot of time thinking about the future. And then it's about managing people too. That you need to be a leader. An important part of a leader is setting a good example. That you have to lead by example. In every organization, the culture is set from the top down. And so I think great companies have great culture. I think the difference between a Walmart and a Kmart, if you looked at the executives of Walmart versus Kmart, the executives at Walmart aren't smarter, more experienced, more educated. They just have a better culture, a better attitude. And so that attitude is pervasive throughout the organization. So I think the two big differences between what I do and others in the company do is I have to lead by example and with a great attitude, and have to have vision for the future.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? You had mentioned chess and deconstructing along those lines, but what is it that you dreamed of being when you grew up?
I was hoping to be Mickey Mantle. I fell in love with Mickey Mantle about that age. And when I turned 7, he won the Triple Crown. And I grew up in upstate New York, so I'm a New York fan. I inherited the Yankees, the Buffalo Bills, and the Buffalo Sabres. So I went out and played Little League. I was a switch hitter like Mickey Mantle. I wanted to be on the New York Yankees so bad. I never really found out what I wanted to do until I was in college, or even had the slightest thought of what I would be when I grew up until I took an H&R Block course in college. And then I was blessed to find out what I wanted to do the rest of my life.
What was it? Has it always been in your DNA to be good with numbers and to have that leadership executive? I mean, when you think of a CEO, you feel like they were born into that role. That's something that you guys are so good at projecting, this image of leadership. How did that manifest for you?
Well, I've always been a leader, and I don't know why, but in the kids on the playground, and when I was 4 or 5 years old, the kids in the neighborhood, when I was honored when I was in 2nd grade, the gym teacher selected me as one of the 4 captains of the 4 different basketball teams and soccer teams, and so I always displayed leadership behavior. Where that came from, I'm not certain.
So who's been a hero for you? Who have you admired in your life?
Well, my number one hero, of course, is Jesus Christ. So, that's the example that I look at. But my parent, I try to do, one of the weird things about me, or unique things about me, is I try to do more for everyone in my life than they do for me. And I'm almost 100% except for I know that I can never catch my parents. And so my parents are my heroes. And one of my teammates who've been with me 35 years, her dad died when I first met her. And I asked her, I said, he died prematurely. He died in his early 50s. And I asked if she had any regrets, and she said she wished she had said things to him that she didn't get to say. So I immediately sat down and wrote a letter to each of my parents and saying, I know you're proud of me, and here's why I owe everything to you. And each of them had different skills and attributes. So I wrote them a letter and gave them that letter. And then they lived long enough that 15 years later, I got to update the letter and write them a second letter.
Nice.
But those are my biggest heroes, are my mother and my father.
So you're in a position of taking care of a lot of people and dispensing good advice. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
Wow, the best advice I've ever gotten. Boy, I'm 74 years old, and there's so many great pieces of advice that yeah, all my advice that is most important to me is related to the Bible. And my favorite parable in the Bible is the talent story. And I was attending church, and I was on the finance committee, and I was starting to travel a lot as my public company was becoming successful. And I had missed the meeting, and I told the finance committee chairman, "I'm sorry I missed the meeting." He said, "You do what you do best." He said, "You do what you do best." And coincidentally, that was before church one Sunday morning, and coincidentally, the sermon was on the talent story, about how God gives us talent, and our job is to use that talent in the most efficient, complete way. And so, best advice that I ever got was, you do what you do best.
So, you get the chance to travel, meet a lot of people, see a lot of places. What's been one of the most surprising, magical, beautiful places that you've traveled to?
I love, in the United States, the most beautiful city is San Francisco. And my favorite restaurant, though, is in La Jolla, just north of San Diego. And there's a big cove there. And the restaurant, the Marine Room, is right on the ocean. And not only does the water hit the glass about twice a month at high tide, but you're sitting there and the sun is setting over the Pacific. And you have these high coves on each side. They're about 200 feet high. And when the sun sets over that cove and over the Pacific, it's just spectacularly beautiful. I love California because my two favorite things are oceans and mountains. And I'm not a fan of Californians in general, people, but I love the beauty of this state.
So where are you from originally?
I grew up in upstate New York.
Okay.
So I went to the University of Buffalo and attended high school in a suburb of Buffalo.
Okay. So you've been at this game for a long time, and you're always growing, you're always evolving. What's been your key to longevity? What's been your key to staying current? And I mean, you mentioned the chess part, but what has that been for you?
First of all, I'm again, one of the unique things about me that's different than others is most people want to retire, and I'm a consummate competitor. The name of my book is iCompete. So I love competition. I love every day, whether it's betting $1 with my son on the football game. He bet me that Josh Allen was going to have more interceptions than touchdowns. And so we bet $1 on that, whether it's betting that or just the business, all the business bets that I make. But right now I think I'm at the pinnacle of my experience and knowledge and capability of helping people. And while I don't discourage anyone from retiring. To me, I would be bored to death if I went and sat on a beach somewhere. And there's so many more people I can help. I'm changing lives each and every day.
So of all of the things that you've done, evolved, and become and accomplished, what are you the proudest of?
The first is the tens of thousands of people that I've changed their lives. I've brought in 5,200 franchisees. They virtually all had partners. So that's 10,000. They had hundreds of thousands of employees. I have my companies have created over 10,000 locations. I'm the only person that's developed 2 of the top 100 retail franchise chains in the country. Just it's how many lives I've been able to impact and change and improve.
So you had mentioned Mickey Mantle. I'm curious if you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see any baseball game with your own eyes. Where are you going?
wow, that's really, really hard to to think of that. Probably when Aaron Judge hit the just recently hit the record breaking home run a couple years ago. That was a year for the ages. He had such a spectacular year, and he seems like such a good quality human being.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into the version of you that was a senior in high school, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived, what advice would you give your younger self?
It would be hard to say that because I've been so blessed and taking advantage over that. And I think that would be really hard to say. But I learned a long time ago that the key to success is simply doing what you say you're going to do. So I would make sure that I understood at a very young age, you never waffle. That once integrity, the difference between honesty and integrity is honesty is talking about the past. Integrity is talking about the future. When I make a commitment to you, then I am fanatically committed, obsessed with fulfilling that commitment. So always do what you say you're going to do.
So what is the future of your business? Is this something that's going to be passed on? What are your plans to keep the dynasty rolling forward? You in a kind of a chess move kind of scenario.
I've already done it before. I sold two $500 million public companies, and they went on. And the reason we called our company Loyalty Brands is I have so many people that work with me that have been with me for so long. So I have three that have been with me 35 years, 3 30, 5 25, 5 20, and it's just passing on the principles and the culture of our organization. As I alluded to earlier, the key to an organization is culture, and giving the keys to the culture to the next generations.
So, John, everyone out there has a perception of you: family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that consumes your services, that you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think that the people see me as brutally frank, and that to this extent that my daughter that I said earlier, they asked her, my youngest daughter, I have 6, they asked her when she was 16, if you could describe your dad in one word, what would it be? And she said annoying. And I'm so brutally frank and so committed to improving lives that I come across as rude and annoying. And I live with that. And what people need to understand that don't always understand is I'm committed to help them improve. They're not going to listen to me, but if I can help, I'm going to give advice, even though you don't always want to hear my advice when I'm saying it.
That's wonderful. John, if anyone out there wants to reach out, where's the best place on the web to reach out and find out more about you and your world and any of your companies?
Yeah, they can reach me at loyaltybrands.com, and my email is John, John, at loyaltybrands.com.
Wonderful. John, thank you so much. Travel well. Have a wonderful holiday season. This has been an honor. Thank you, sir.
You too. It's been my pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. Our esteemed theme music was composed and produced by the great E.E. Pointer of Kansas City's River Cow Orchestra. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.